at Illuvium at the moment. So he is on the team and he always has some really fun insights for us. So there is a little bit to talk about today. We got a lot of announcements for last week's spontaneous episode. This week is going to be a little bit more low key. But even next week is when pre-registrations are starting to kick off, and we'll probably have more information on things like the cinematic, pre-registrations, and all the rest of it. So there's some really awesome stuff coming, and we do have some really fun chats to talk about today as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. How you going today, man?
Yeah, good. I mean, we were chatting before we went live. I'm very excited about something. I don't know how much I can say. Maybe we'll touch on it a little bit in this episode, but yeah, like you said, last week, massive. This week, a little bit slower, but that just means that the coming weeks are going to be ramping up again. We can't just go all the way up all the time. It needs to be a bit of a roller coaster. So expect some exciting stuff in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and I've even got 2 spreadsheets on my other monitor right now to make 2 new videos based on airdrops, player numbers, all that sort of stuff. So I'm really excited to get them out to you guys next week. I have a really good video coming this Saturday as well. So I'm doing a lot more videos that I feel like you guys really enjoy. Obviously, you guys responded really well to my RevDues video, so I'm going to try and do that as often as I can, as you guys would probably expect. If you guys watch them, I'm going to make them. It's not very complicated. Let's jump straight into it.
Yo, real quick, man. I just want to ask you if we can, what with the amount of players that you brought it up, so I'll touch on it. Considering that Mavia's airdrop was about 10 mil, and they were plastering the million downloads all over the place with their marketing, what kind of numbers are you expecting? Like, just as a like, not even as a council member, just as a community member yourself, like, or even in chat. I mean, Dan, let me know. Let us know. What do you got? What's everyone expecting in terms of player numbers? Let's say a month in. So in the first month.
It's really tricky to gauge. I definitely think Illuvium Zero can surpass 1 million downloads if they market the airdrop well enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are willing to just download a random app. I don't, even though I would expect Illuvium Zero to have over 1 million downloads, I don't necessarily think that's 1 million players that are going to stick around. Like, barely any of them are probably going to stick around. I don't know. But my focus is really on things like the Overworld and the Arena. And the only thing I've been able to extrapolate recently has been that Nyan Heroes, I don't know how many players they have, but they managed to get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of reposts for people chasing up that airdrop. And so it's safe to assume that many of them have a PC, and I've seen it's plastered all over my feed. A lot of them went and downloaded the game on Epic Games, and they are playing the game. There is a community of PC gamers that exist. Not to mention, Illuvium has optimized their game particularly well when it comes to Web3 PC gaming. And so I don't know how many players we're going to have. I really don't. But for Illuvium Overworld, I think we will break 50K. I believe Shrapnel broke 50K. I don't see why Illuvium wouldn't, especially with a good enough airdrop campaign. Whether we get past 100K or even do something stupid and hit like 200, 300K is anyone's guess. But I really think we break 50.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, and let us know. 20K. Okay, fair play. 50 to 100K. Cool numbers. Yeah, I mean, we've got our internal targets. Obviously, we're just keen to get a bit of a feeler out there on what you guys were expecting. But yeah, cool.
Can you hint at how close you think I am with your internal targets?
I mean, I can't do that. You know, I can't do that.
Okay. Internal, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, look, I'm trying to be very careful with how I say this. Like, we've got 1 million. I think. Look, let me phrase it like this. The airdrop that we have coming up, and I know it's probably going to be a topic we touch on later, has been rumored to be the biggest in Web3 gaming so far. Based on the conversations I've had with some other entities, that it still seems to be very much the case that we are doing it at a much larger scale than anyone prior in this space. So that being the case, I think it's going to, and with the registrations opening up in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I think that's going to be a very good indicator on the kind of numbers that we're looking at. We've definitely got a target for that. It's high. The target is high. but we are very, very optimistic with some of the names that we've got on board with what we have planned. Well, we've got optimistic targets, but also have very strong belief that we are going to get there and plans to get there. It's not just a random. I believe in it. It's going to be interesting. Very, very exciting times.
Well, the other thing that's easy to forget is, how do I put this? When it comes to any gaming studio, even your indie games, a really polished trailer can get 1 million, 2 million views on YouTube, even if that channel has 0 subscribers. For some reason, they tend to just do extremely well no matter what. And I don't think Illuvium's an exception. And given there's so much awesome marketing material and things like that coming up, I've seen a lot of Overworld stuff, and their stuff is really awesome as well. But I think having that cinematic trailer and all of the accompanying trailers, cutscenes, and all the rest of it is going to make the game extra enticing and really just have a lot bigger reach. And then you have all the partnerships with Web 2, Web 3 partners and things like that. And even if, say, Jesus goes and talks to all his community and 10 people from there come in, there's a lot of credibility that comes with casting that wide net and having those larger influencers talking about your project, that eventually people are like, okay, everyone's talking about it. I don't have a choice. I've got to have a look, even if they don't play. And then there's word of mouth. And I think there's, I don't know if other crypto games have really done that sort of marketing spread. I think Shrapnel's did pretty well with their one from memory.
Nyan Heroes or Neon Heroes, how you pronounce it. I think they're doing it pretty well. Like I'll give credit where credit's due. I think they're doing pretty well with that. I've seen a bunch of people push it out. Yeah, no. So the names that we have on our list, I'm actually in talks with one right now. I mean, not technically right now, but behind the scenes. If that's one that we can get involved, they seem very interested. They're already mentioned and made clear that they're already holders of the ILV token as well. It's that alone, I think, is going to be a relatively impactful thing that we activate. And I mean, you've already seen some of the tweets that I've been putting out about trying to get people to tag their creators. Those posts have gone a lot wider than I would have expected. But it seemed, and I've been getting a bunch of people that I haven't spoken to in a while, like, retweet, hit me up and say, hey, man, how can I get involved? I really want to get involved. So, yeah, I think, like I say, we have optimistic targets. But it seems like, look, I shouldn't say this, but this is just, we've got optimistic targets, but even that, I think we might be underestimating the scale that this is really going to go. And yeah, well, I probably shouldn't say something like that, but that's personally how I feel.
Well, I have no idea where the general crypto markets are going, but what would be really, really funny is if retail did start entering in late May, June,
that would be
about a month after the halving. That would be absolutely bonkers. That would be like the most stupidly lucky. I know people are gonna say that Illuvium timed it on purpose and all that sort of shit, but that would be like the luckiest thing in the world.
We didn't plan that. If that was to happen in retail, I mean, I'm constantly looking at the Google Trends charts for crypto. We're still only about 35% search volume compared to where it was at the previous 2021 high. So retail is nowhere in sight. If it does happen that it comes in after the halving around that June, like end of Q2 line, and that's when we do go live with it, and it lines up perfectly, all I can say is that it's the biggest blessing from up above, and it's been written that it's destined that Illuvium is meant to take over completely. So if that was to happen, man, what I'm saying we're underestimating, I can't even begin to tell you how insane it would get.
It would be insane. So we better get through all this. Thankfully, there's not too much today, but we've got a lot of airdrop chat coming up later as well. But let's first jump into this. So Nick has said that the game mode has been designed for the FFA 8-person game, and it is ready for development. In my personal opinion, this is going to be a hot take. I would love to see the FFA 8-player game mode be ready before open beta. I think we don't currently have a major game in Illuvium for casual, everyday players, and having that available would be a massive, massive win for Illuvium. An arena is just too niche. It's good, and it's getting better and better, but it's just too niche to really attract that competitive audience just yet, or that more casual audience. And so I think this would be a big win if we had it, but I don't think that's likely.
Yeah, I'm not gonna really speak too much on it.
Do you know if it started development?
I think they're starting with it. I won't say they have, but I know that they are starting with it. But it's not something to expect for open beta. I'll say that. I'm pretty sure I can openly say that. That I wouldn't be expecting the free for all for open beta.
That's a shame, but it is what it is.
Right? Yeah, soon after potentially, but definitely not for open beta. That's definitely not what we're aiming for.
Yeah, yep. And with this one, so Johnny has said that the T2 is currently, as per the alpha, what the free-to-play plot is going to be. I think keeping it as T2 is a good decision. Obviously, Johnny isn't confirming that. He's not entirely sure, I don't think. But having the T2 for free-to-play, as far as we know, is what it's going to be. Next up is Johnny has mentioned that Zero has been pretty sticky. People spent 10 times more time than we thought they would on the alpha. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out when we don't have land fuel in the mix. The other really interesting thing I saw today was someone was talking about how there are lots of new people on the Illuvium Overworld leaderboard. And it looks like a lot of people are playing the Overworld in preparation for the upcoming betas. And I know a lot of people are still playing Illuvium Zero. They're hitting at level 2000 and stuff like that. People are enjoying playing these games. It's hard to see sometimes, but people are playing the Illuvium Overworld and Illuvium Zero, and it's hard to say their motivations for it. But I know many that are playing it just because they enjoy the game and they enjoy grinding along. Even I did for a very long time. I hit my blueprints like almost more than a month before I finished. Before I stopped playing Illuvium Zero for the time being, because the resets kill motivation for obvious reasons.
Sure.
But that's really good to hear that people are still playing Zero, and I hope that the free-to-play is also quite sticky, especially if there are future seasons of airdrops, right? So even if Season 2 is like, people could be earning like 50 cents a day for playing Illuvium Zero free-to-play, that is enough for someone in a third world country to want to keep playing it every single day. So that would be really cool and really just grow the Illuvium ecosystem over time.
Yeah, no, I think Zero. We're going to see a lot of action, especially with Season 1 of the airdrop. I mean, the incentive is going to be there, and you're right. I think it's a cool game, even without the land stuff. I think it is a cool game, and there are some of the new features that are going to be coming in, which just make it that much more enjoyable. I think it should be a fun one, and like I said, I think we've spoken about it a lot. How I said it was probably going to be one of the games that I like the least. But actually, it's a cool one to just have on. Like I've always said now, like it's nice to have on one of my screens and just as I'm working, just tap here and there. I've stopped playing it after I've minted. I will be upfront about that. But once the game is live, and I know there's airdrops and things like that, it's definitely something that I'll get back into. And especially once once the fuel stuff really kicks in, that I'm 100% going to be jumping into that.
So this one is less information and just something that made me really chuckle when I was going through all my stuff. So I wanted to share it with you guys. Yep. Philo said, just because Aaron says something doesn't make it so. And then Aaron posted this really cute GIF. And I like it.
Right.
It's a cat.
Valuable insights, guys.
I'm dying. It's such a good GIF. Okay. So there has been a big discussion going on, and although I have my own thoughts and opinions, I'm going to leave this as objective and looking at the discussion as I possibly can. Then there's been a big discussion about making a mobile overworld alternative. As it says at the top here, and essentially what people are asking for is a really expensive gacha lottery system where someone can go, I want to do an overworld travel from my phone. It's going to cost me 3 times more, and I'm going to get 3 times less stuff. So it's really inefficient, but allows them to essentially do like a pack opening on their phone for the overworld and subside from actually doing an overworld run. Personally, I don't want to eliminate the prospect of the overworld run, but I can see great benefits to the DAO from doing something like this. And I think Aaron sums up his opinion in particular quite well here, where he says that there's 10 Ramfire on the market. You own one, the other 9 cost 1,000. Yours costs 500. Yours is also the highest level. Saying that if this sort of system did exist, it would actually increase the prices for NFTs significantly, especially for those that are actually doing the overworld run. So it would probably benefit the secondary market in many, many ways because it would increase the overall value of everything in the market since the gacha system would be so much more expensive. I personally only have a gripe with it all because it kind of devalues the effort and experience of those playing in the overworld. But I definitely think there's a balance that can be struck in general. So that's kind of what that discussion is happening. People are mostly in favor of it.
Where does it say that it needs to be
it's
expensive?
It's more so just like
the value. I think the conversation is that the value you get out of it won't be the same as if you put the same dollar amount in the overworld. I think that's what it is because you're shortcutting. Carry on.
The expensive part comes from it's a product for whales, and so allow them to spend as much money as possible in as little time as possible. And they don't want to. They don't want to do 10 pack openings or 20 pack openings. They just want to do one. I don't know.
Do you think that this product should only be exclusively at a higher price point as a premium product, or do you think it should be available for anyone with a slight premium?
Given it's on mobile, probably anyone, but
correct.
I would say that you could make the higher price ones a better value deal. Kind of like a mega disc.
Right. Understood. Yes. And I think that's fair. But I think if we cut away all the price talk and everything, the idea of having a automated system that allows you to do it. For example, Kieran is not going to be sitting there day in, day out, 8 hours grinding the game. He isn't. Neither am I. We have things to do. So having something like this allows us to still get what we want in a way where, cool, let's say we both put in $1, you go into the overworld. What you get out of that dollar is going to be more, maybe twice as much as what I get, maybe 3 times as much, no problem. But I've saved a lot of my time. But at least I'm still able to participate without doing that. If the only option for someone to participate in the ecosystem is by putting in that time, we're going to eliminate a lot of potential customers, and it's not what we want to do. So the idea of having something as an alternative where we do need to find that balance, yeah, and that's completely fine, but it makes sense. It makes complete sense that, for example, like I say, I can be working all day, and if there was a automated system, I could have it running back to back to back to back consistently throughout the entire day, giving me less value for someone like you who's grinding it, but at least I'm still participating. So I think if that wasn't there, I might not be able to put in the 8 hours or take the time to actually play it. So yeah, anyone that's against it, I don't understand the logic really, especially as what Aaron has said, and there are ways to circumvent the issues that some people are bringing up. I think it's an obvious no-brainer, and I know Josh was the one that brought it up ages ago, actually. But I'm glad to see that it is being discussed and taken seriously. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer.
In my opinion,
let me just sorry, but before I throw it to you, I just want to this comment. Yeah. Whoa, what's this?
That one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. 5x more expensive with a third of the world sounds like a good balance. Look, I appreciate this, and I say this in the nicest way possible. We're not going to make a decision based on what sounds like a good balance. We're going to actually run numbers, make sure things are data-driven, and we make a decision based on that. But yes, we will find something that makes sense in a objective manner, not something that I feel this way or this sounds this way, because that's where what feels or sounds expensive to someone might be very, very different to someone else. And it's not a good metric to go by. We need empirical data.
Stick your thumb in the wind.
Yeah, that's, I mean.
So where it comes down for me is less on less analytical and actually more on principle. And now I understand that this as a system would generate a lot of revenue for the DAO. It would be
Correct.
highly beneficial for the DAO, ILB token holders, and things like that. Where I come from, it is one of my favorite parts of Illuvium in general is that everything that exists in the world, someone had to go into the overworld, find it, and obtain it. And I really don't want to. That's a powerful essence for me personally,
I'm
and I
going
would
to.
really be sad to lose
I'm
that.
back on this. Okay, cool. Yes, you could do it the same way that we have in the world right now. You have people that physically flip burgers. You have some burger restaurants that have robotics that do that. It's the same thing, right? If somewhat that you have people that physically wash their own cars, and you have people that drive through a car wash because they would much rather save the time. In this world that we are building, there might be like whales and things like that that just send an army of drones to do the work. I understand where you're coming from and I get it. But even if we want to play that lore game, there are ways that we can circumvent that and logic ourselves
But
out of that.
but that's what I would like to do. Is I wouldn't like to get rid of this idea, but I like the idea of they need a drone to go out into the overworld, but someone who initially traveled into the overworld, found all the parts for this drone, built the drone, and then sold it to the whale. And now the whale can use the drone to automate it and stuff like that. So
Cool.
that's kind of where my head's at. I want it to all originate from this one point, even if it expands out in that way. But I would still like to not lose that essence. You know what I mean?
Cool. I get it. I mean, there could be something, but yeah, it's not something that I would lose sleep over. If I know that it's generating a ton more revenue for the DAO, and it's not going to absolutely, again, if we put in the time and effort to make sure it doesn't destroy the economy of it, it's not something that I'm going to lose sleep over that. Again, oh man, I feel like it should do this. As long as it does what it's intended to do, I think we're winning with that.
One thing I did mention in that discussion was I think scholarships fix it instantly. I think if instead of you pay money to do a pack opening, you pay someone else to go into the overworld and capture it all for you. It's kind of the same loop. It
It's
might be
just hard,
slower.
man.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just hard.
difficult, and there's a lot of building out to do for sure.
Yeah, it's just very, very hard in terms of like, okay, let's say you catch 5 atlases and 1 ramfire. What the person that's hired you out, does he get the ramfire? Does he get the 5 out? How do you balance that out? Like, what makes sense?
Yeah, it's difficult because then you can go like, oh, you get everything they find and you pay them money to do it, but then you have the problem of what if they just catch really shit stuff?
Correct. Yeah. What if they're horrible? Like, what if they're a horrible worker and you want to fire them immediately? Like, there's so many. Exactly.
Yeah, it gets rather complex. I think a bounty could be really cool.
I
Like first
look
person to find a Ramfy gets this or something. That'd be pretty funny.
again.
Like a bounty
I
board,
think all of
yeah.
these things are complicating something that's very, very simple, is like this automated system.
All right, for sure. Let's jump into Kieran's next comment here. I can't even remember why I brought that. Oh, okay. So if Illuvium Zero fuel generation and everything is delayed, they're only talking a couple of months after launch. Wait, I hope I'm not misreading, not taking that out of context. I have no idea. I have a feeling I'm taking that out of context. Let's jump into the next one. They are expecting to get Illuvium Zero and everything complete and ready before open beta, just so you guys know, for landholders, fuel, and all that.
Let me address these comments. Just buy it from other players or the marketplace. Again, yes, if you want something specific, that is the way. If I want to just, again, like I say, buying things on the marketplace in perpetuity takes time and effort. What the solution we're suggesting or discussing at least is one that saves time. If I want to scour the marketplace, find the best thing, do the best thing to get whatever I want, that takes my time and effort. I need to be looking at this. Having something automated means someone like myself, Kieran, Nick, Dick, Johnny, any of those names, we can continue working and doing our job while having that run on the side. It doesn't stop us from and there are a lot of people that are going to be in that situation where the valuable thing to them is their time. They can't sit down and, okay, cool, we can do the marketplace for a day, maybe we can take 2 days off and just play on the marketplace. Cool. And then what happens? Whereas if we have this automated system, we can have it running on the back in perpetuity, as long as we have enough capital to allow it. We have it in perpetuity, which means it's a bunch more revenue. The second thing to actually understand here is that anything on the marketplace, in terms of revenue distribution, the DAO only gets a small percentage of that. The exact percentage I've forgotten now. I think it's, look, I'm not going to make a claim. Do you know what it is, Scoriox?
Pardon?
The percentage that the DAO makes from
3%, I believe.
3%. Okay, I'll take your word for that. So 3%. Whereas this automated system means that 100% of that goes into revenue distribution. So again, it's not just saying, oh, we have the marketplace. The issue is not or marketplace or automated. The answer is actually and. It's marketplace and automated system. That is how you generate the most amount of revenue.
The one thing that would put me off the fence, that I'm on the fence about this entire topic, the one thing that would fix a lot of that for me is if you made it at least a little bit involved. I don't want to say mini game, but for example, you go like, I don't know.
The goal
something
here
really
is to keep,
simple.
The goal here is to keep it automated.
But like,
whether it's
like
a
really simple.
Cool. Look, again, for me, I would say just leave it automated.
Like you equip drone equipment, then you click go. You know
yeah. I mean, cool. Like, make it so you equip shard only, like, or mining only gear, so it only does that, or things like that. Cool, but it shouldn't be something where it's like I need to spend 5 minutes to focus. It needs to be very brain dead and kind of automated. That is the goal of this,
for sure.
Very, very similar to, this is a random thing, but I don't know if you guys have ever played Football Manager. It's a soccer or a football simulation. And again, you do the same thing where, as the manager, what you do is you hire people, you train people, you build out your team, and then you click play, and it simulates the match for you. And it's pretty much the same thing. The thinking goes in beforehand. You click simulate, it goes and does its thing. It's a similar kind of idea.
All right, so we're jumping to the next one. Kieran has said that I didn't even think about this at the time. But Kieran has said that we will see the pricing for Overworld runs and all that sort of stuff when the private beta goes live, which is really interesting. Like, I can't wait to speculate on, like, I just can't wait. Anyways, but they are not set. This is part of the feedback they need. So by the sounds of this, they're going to put in the pricing that they're hoping to keep indefinitely. But obviously, a lot of feedback will come in during the testing phase, and then they will have to decide on the upper rail for the pricing of different things, and it will help them balance things out as well. They might find that people are using Solon a crap ton more than they expected, so they'll have to maybe rebalance some of the costs or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much about that.
This comment from Kieran was really interesting, where Kieran said that they had a single investor offer them $20 million, but they declined. It was a strategic range designed to give us the runway we wanted from the firms that would add value. And I think that's fair. I think we can't really afford to deplete the treasury too much. Now, I know it will fill back up over time, but it's important to maintain it as high as we possibly can. And I don't know how much that $20 million was going to be in terms of price per token and that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, the amount of people. Yeah, look, it's been one of the weirdest raises. It's been a very weird raise, because usually we'd have to say, hey, we're trying to maximize the amount that people want to put in. This was a raise where we had to slow people down and say, hey, look, the amount that you want, we just can't give you. Like, you're giving us too much money. So it was a very. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It means the demand's there. People have done their due diligence, and they're willing to double, triple down. But wow, yeah, it was weird conversations. Weird conversations.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to raise $30-40 million in one hit, even if it drained a lot of money. It would have been really wacky. All right.
the thing is, it was very much on the table, which is what's so crazy.
So Gift Magic has asked that he has not kept up with the project. He got his blueprints, but have not played in a while. What's the airdrop? Without going into too much detail, Illuvium is planning on doing a 6-month-long airdrop campaign for the launch of Illuvium. So yeah, you'll do lots of different things. I don't know, you might catch an alluvial or build a building in Illuvium 0 and you'll get points. And then at the end of the time period, whoever has the most points gets the most money and that sort of stuff. Obviously, I don't have the full details, but that's kind of my guess.
You say that's my guess.
I think I probably nailed it, to be honest. All right, the next one we've got here is that there was actually a main council town hall. I'm not going to divulge my notes on it here because I forgot to bring them up. But basically, Kieran talked a lot about the airdrop, some of the upcoming plans, things like Illuvium 0 and how they're going to get 5% of all in-game revenues and things like that. And then the council talked about some stuff as well. It was overall quite good, very good for someone who hasn't been keeping up to date much with Illuvium. For anyone who has, nothing too crazy divulged here. Next up on our agenda is the Pudgy Penguin was selected. Now, I saw a lot of people sharing certain Pudgy Penguins. This one seems oddly too basic, which kind of made me a little bit sad. It's a cute penguin, and I love penguins, but come on. It's not that.
Yeah, it wasn't the one that I would have gone with, but I mean, congratulations to Dokuso.eth. Well done.
I'm surprised, but it is going to be really cool to see it team up with Atlas in the Illuvium universe. I have no idea how that's going to go down, but I'm looking forward to it. Do you have any idea how they're planning on implementing this? My initial thought was one of those Easter egg cave paintings in Crimson Wastes, but...
Oh, that's it? Yeah, that was the end of your sentence.
That was the end of my sentence.
Yeah, yes, I do know exactly what they're planning for this, and obviously I can't divulge until it's made public. But I think it's really cool. It opens up the potential for a lot that we can do with partners, ongoing. I'm very, very excited about how this plays out and what it can mean for us in the future. I apologize, I can't give you guys too much more on that one for now.
All right, so the next thing we've got is a Crimson Waste walkthrough. I watched this earlier today. Without the music, it didn't seem like that much, but I watched it more closely and watched it properly through, and I actually really enjoyed it. So we're going to go through, we're going to watch this out. Enjoy. Okay. Taryn, I have one
Go.
question and one criticism. You ready? My question is very simple. What the hell is Mozart doing right now?
I think I know, but I'm not entirely sure. So I won't say. I think Outlook. I think it has something to do with the morphopods. I'll say that.
That is what I thought. Because later on you see him do it again, or kind of do it again. Here. Crap, I just had it. There. You can see the little effect and everything. And right before that, you actually see a morphopod flying past. You see the morphopod above the head. It goes to the left, and that thing starts happening. So I think it is a morphopod related thing. The other thing, other question.
Roger's in chat and he says no one knows. So we probably don't know.
The other question I have is a really weird one. So, do you remember the hunting leak where they were hunting the cooker and all that sort of stuff? And there were shit tons of minerals, ores, plants, everything, and alluvials and all that sort of stuff. Crimson Waste did not feel like that at all. You barely saw any harvestable objects. You barely saw any alluvials roaming around. Why is that?
You're asking that was a question. One of the big things with Crimson Waste that was taking a bit of time, it should be much better now, is the I forget what the mesh of it. I forget what the exact the nav mesh of it. So because there are multiple levels, there's the tunnels and then the upper layer. Just the spawning stuff takes. It was a little bit more effort to make sure that everything was working the way it should be in terms of alluvials running around and things spawning. So that was a big thing compared to something like Brightling Steps, where it's just essentially one Beyblade ball, right? It's just one thing in the middle. So that's a major factor in why that was.
Interesting. So there's not going to be as many alluvials roaming around freely in Crimson Waste?
It's being worked on. It's being worked on. That's what I was saying. It was just because we had built it with a different system in place. Redoing that and getting the current system in takes a bit more time.
Awesome. Okay, glad to hear it. So the next one I've got here is actually my tweet. And I just wanted to bring up two of my tweets here for a particular reason. This one is actually a giveaway. I'm going to drop it in the chat. If anyone has any video ideas, drop it in there. The most likes wins. I will send out one ILV tomorrow. So make sure you get your video ideas in. I'm loving seeing all these ideas. I'm probably going to make a handful of them. So loving this. If you have any video ideas for me, anything you really want to see, drop it on that tweet as soon as possible. And next we have a tweet from the one and only TSG, or Taryn, as he's better known. And he says, there's major airdrop news. I know many people didn't read the latest Illuvium blog, so here you go. 10% of the upcoming airdrop allocated for beta 4 and 90% of the upcoming airdrop allocated for open beta. Comment below how many of the 1 million ILV tokens we should use for the airdrop. Most liked comment gets a prize. Did someone win this already?
No, they didn't. I didn't even go through it, but I will. Thanks for bringing that up.
Oh my god, I might actually be the most liked comment.
Cool.
I don't want to win. Don't let me win.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out. We don't need to go through it right now. It's.
Oh my god, I'm the most liked comment.
Cool. Well done, Scoriox. I'll give you a prize.
I didn't mean to mention that. Okay. But in the chat, let us know right now, how many tokens do you think Illuvium is going to airdrop? And do you think 10% for beta 4 makes sense? Would you like to see it less? Would you like to see it more? I would love to hear all of your thoughts. If you're watching this VOD later on, then I'd love to see it in the comments as well. I'm definitely going to read all of them. Most liked comment for a troll comment. It was a fun comment. 500k tokens. That's the way to go. All right. Okay, the next one is a huge opportunity coming for creators. Do you want to speak to this for a bit?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So there's... Look, I I can't say too much about it just yet, but obviously we've seen the big thing that we've done with the rewards, and we've seen a bunch of creators jump in and get involved and really start getting around it, which was really, really good to see. The numbers have been incredible to see. But what's insane is with what we're cooking behind the scenes, the creator rewards are going to feel insanely small. Like it's going to be like people are going to look back and be like, that wasn't even anything. So what I'm currently working on right now is going to be insanely big for creators. I've look, let's be transparent with everyone. I've spoken to you about it slightly. You kind of know what I'm talking about, and you can back up if you think what I'm saying is overhyping it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But as a creator myself, as someone who used to do content, I understand the efforts that goes into content, whether that's threads, whether that's streaming, but like I get it all. I get it. It's not something that you just jump into. Learning skills like editing, learning skills like scripting, like there's a lot that goes into it. So I want to make sure that you guys get your fair share. And I think for a long time, creators have been overlooked, and it's just a really, it baffles me how simple the solution was, and no one's done it the way that I'm working on figuring it out. So I'm consistently pushing for it in internal meetings. I've spoken to Kieran and Nick about it even today, actually. Like we all understand how important it is, and it's just insane. Like the biggest thing that I'll say is anyone that wants to get into content, just provide value. If you can provide value to your community, and what I mean by that is that can be education, that can be entertainment, that can be, I don't know, a review, a summary, like that can be just anything that is valuable to someone else, explaining it in a simpler way, breaking something down, getting some of the news as quickly as possible. Whatever you could do, as long as you can add value to your community and you can build a community, I promise you, with this new system that we have coming out, it's going to be absurd. It's just going to be absurd. Like I saw I've brought it up again, but I saw a tweet from Classy or Jesus. Him and Yellow Panther were talking about them generating like 150 ETH in sales for a company, and I saw what they got back. I mean, that's going to look like you're going to like for a creator, they're going to look at that and be like, whoa, that was nothing compared to what Illuvium is about to do. So if we can do that, like I want creators to get their fair share, and it's gonna be great for creators. It's gonna be great for Illuvium because we're essentially gonna have our own marketing team. Everyone, it's gonna be it's just something that I've been pushing for a very long time, and the impact that it's gonna have is just it's gonna be honestly in our space. I would say it's gonna be pretty unheard of. I think it's gonna be on a scale that we can't even imagine, which again, and maybe I'm overselling it. Maybe I'm just excited because it's my department. But yeah, I've told you some of what I've got planned. Obviously, don't share any details, but let me know, am I like overselling it, or am I excited for the right reason? I mean, I'm happy to hear what you think as a creator.
Well, I think there's definitely strength in numbers, and if you can outplay everyone else in terms of like if the highest someone's giving out for affiliate and that sort of stuff is like 2% and you're doing 10%, then every single creator is going to transition into what you're doing instantly. And I think that there's some power there where it's quite the network effect where, for example, if you are being more generous than everyone else, which is kind of like YouTube. YouTube is just more generous than everyone else in a lot of ways. But if you're being more generous than everyone else, then a lot of creators come to you instead. And then they've got all the network effects of encouraging the broader crypto and gaming communities to jump onto Illuvium. And then everybody wins. Everyone's involved. It's all one giant collection, one giant community. Obviously, it's split amongst many creators. You've got to vie for that attention. But it's exciting. It's exciting. And I'm looking forward to... I definitely think at least for a decent period of time, every single creator will be talking about Illuvium. I'm interested to see how effective that is. We've seen it do well so far. We've seen it do well in general gaming for the past decade. Let's see how it goes. I'm excited to see what happens.
And based on the conversations I have had with the influencers, and obviously it's not just me that comes up with it. I come up with the base idea. I talk to a couple of people, and really get the feedback. Based on the conversations I've had with all the major impactful creators, they're absolutely gassed. So yeah, I'm fighting very, very hard to make it a reality. If it does happen, not only is this massive for creators, but yeah, for Illuvium as a whole, for the DAO as a whole, it's just going to be monstrous. Like, I know that for a fact. If this gets through, it's going to be monstrous.
I cannot wait to see it. So we've only got two little things left at the end here. First up, from Sam Withers, he's done a really good breakdown of the upcoming airdrop for Illuvium.
Real quick. Sorry, I just want to address something. S. Job's comment. So the influencers are excited to get free money. Shocking. Everyone in chat, please let me know when in my excitement and my statements that I mentioned that anyone was getting free money. Please let me know if I'm mistaken and I accidentally let that slip, or that's just something that came out of absolutely nowhere. But sorry, carry on, sorry.
Sure. And it's not free. I mean, you're doing something to get the money if there's money involved.
We haven't shared any details. We haven't said anything about it. I just wanted to make sure. Did I let that slip somewhere, or
no? Anyways, so Sam has done a really great breakdown on the airdrop here. You can pre-register for the private testnet April 15, and you'll be able to earn airdrop points. We'll begin April 30th for the private beta and May 28th for the open beta testnet. And then the game is out Q2. 90% of the play to airdrop pool will be for the open beta thing. It'll be roughly 5 months. And Kieran actually mentioned in the AMA, in the town hall, that it will be paid out at the end of the 5 months. For the testnet phase, it will be paid out at the end of the testnet phase. So there's going to be two, let's say, really, really large singular payouts. I don't know how I feel about that, and I hope that that's not the be-all. I hope that's not the guaranteed case that it's going to be. But an interesting way to set it up, and definitely makes it a bit more sticky as well, where you're not just like getting a little bit of money and getting out. You're like, okay, I'm going to stay through to the end, or I'm maybe going to get basically nothing. And so you're either sticking with it or you're not sticking with it at all. And I like that a little bit better for a play to airdrop type setup. They'll be paid in bananas. I hate bananas, so hopefully not. All right. The last thing I've got for you is I'm going to shill my own thing. And I don't hate to do that, but I do hate to do that. I don't know. I released my latest edition of the Fang Report, which is my monthly newsletter, and I'd appreciate it if you all go and subscribe for free on that. Register with your email so that you get all of my unfiltered thoughts that I distribute every single month. In this particular edition, I had the potential negatives of the upcoming airdrop, the bullish new Illuvium updates, why the Illuvium Arena is better than ever, and my personal strategy for the Illuvium Open Beta if you're paying for the paid subscription. I will grab you the link, drop it in chat. I'd appreciate if you guys go and subscribe to that. It really does mean a lot to me. Building up that even bigger community fan base is always a really awesome. But obviously, subscribe to my YouTube channel as well if you haven't already. Is there anything you want to wrap up with before we finish this off?
No, man. No, I mean, yeah, like you said, quiet week. We covered up a couple of things, but yeah, the next coming week should be a lot more to talk about.
I'm looking forward to it. So with that, we better let you guys go. Thanks so much for joining us today. We had some really awesome chats regarding the current discussions in Illuvium, the upcoming airdrop, creator rewards, and all the rest of it. And yeah, there's so much happening. Not going to be a whole lot of news. Hopefully there's going to be some announcements and things next week. But I'm looking forward to the future. Illuvium is so close. To think I'll be shooting Illuvials in the overworld in a couple of weeks is kind of crazy. But
it's been there. We've been around for a long time.
Yeah, I'm an old man now. All right. Have a good one, guys.